Hey, and welcome to this video where I am just gonna give you guys some tips on what worked for us in getting my toddler off his paci. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Joelle. I am a mom. My son is currently 19 months old. I'm pregnant with my second baby, and there's another thing you need to know about me. I am not a judgmental mom. I just want to offer what worked for us, what worked well for my son. But I want to encourage you first and foremost to go with your mama instinct. And if something I did doesn't work for you, if your son is old or your child is older than mine and you're working on the paci, like, it's totally and completely okay. I have no judgment. But just to get into this, we are expecting our second baby, and we're about 3 months out from that. And I really thought right now was a good time to get my son off the paci, have some time in between now and when his brother gets in. We, didn't have really any big life changes going on coming up around this time. So we just, like, in our guts, we're like, now is a good time. Like, I feel like we just need to do this now. I dreaded it so much. Don't get me wrong. My son loved his paci and had it often. He didn't really understand the whole, like, you can only have it at nap and bedtime and not all the time, because when he got hurt, he wanted it. When he just didn't understand that differentiation. And for me personally, I'm like, well, night and naps are going to be the hardest thing, so why delay the hardest part? Like, if we're gonna do it, we're just gonna do it. That's what I felt was best for us. So kind of a few tactical tips. Number one, do it when you are ready. When you feel like your child is ready, like you are ready. It may still be tough and like you don't really want to, but you just have that mom intuition, like, we should do it, Second tip is, what worked for us is, I kind of picked a date, and 2 weeks before that date, I kind of collected his pacis, tried to keep them all in one central located area so there wasn't them all over the house. He had about 6, and I just tried to mentally start preparing. And I did in this 2 weeks also, like, try to give it to him less. So when we'd run to the store, when we'd run to my parents' house, I wouldn't bring it with to test it out and see how it would go. I didn't intentionally, like, say to him, like, no paci, but I just wouldn't bring it with, because what I found is oftentimes it was like him seeing it laying around and then wanting it, or me putting it into his mouth, quite honestly. And then third tip, tell people for accountability. Like, when I decided on the Friday that we were gonna pull the plug, I told my parents, I told friends, I just told people to help hold myself accountable, to make it more real, to make it more concrete. Not because any of those people, if we had fallen back, none of those people would have judged me. It was just for my own personal accountability. Tip number 4, okay, so we decided to quit the paci on a Friday. So Thursday night, he got one to go to bed with, and I snipped all of them except for the one he had in his bed. And then when he woke up the next day, I kind of just went into the typical routine of, like, he wakes up, we make his shake, he has breakfast, and then he can go about playing. I left out a few of the ones that were cut, and in this time I kind of snuck away at breakfast when he was eating. I snuck away the one that was still whole and snipped it. So I snipped all of them and had it out, and he put the, like, snipped paci in his mouth, and he kind of looked at it and he was like, what the heck? And I was like, uh-oh, is it broken? Let's go throw it away. So we walked over to the garbage. He did have a moment of hesitation where, like, do I really want to throw this away? He put it in the garbage, shut the door of the garbage, and then I put the rest in a drawer. So they were out of sight, out of mind. I didn't really address it after that. And then the last tip that really worked well for us is not only did you have to physically remove the paci from being seen, we also eliminated that word. So that was the most helpful at like nap and bedtime, was eliminating the word pacifier or binky or whatever it is that you call it, because he did kind of okay during the morning. And Bryce wasn't asking for it yet. He couldn't say paci. So when I was putting him down for his nap, we did like a little typical nap time routine where I rocked him, got books, read, laid him down. He has a blankie that he really loves. Like I honestly think that taking away my son's blankie would be a way bigger deal than the pacifier. He can go to college with that thing if he wants to. But I laid him down and he like opened his mouth, and I knew I knew he was waiting for me to put that paci in his mouth, right? And I just said, "Good night, honey, here's your blankie," and walked out. And he did have a little bit of a meltdown, and it was a little bit hard for a few days. But if he just really was, I think it was bedtime, he wasn't consolable, so we kind of just went in there. I'd do one more book, get him his blankie, lay him down and say, "Here's your blankie, snuggle your blankie." I know some people find it really beneficial to do a stuffed animal, you know, like here's your bear, or here's your lion, or whatever it is, and we're kind of replace it with something else. But instead of being like, "Oh, I know you want your paci, but paci went bye-bye," or "Paci's in the garbage," when you keep saying the word, they keep fixated on it, I feel. Don't we all? Like, you tell yourself you can't have chips, and even if you weren't a big chip person before, all you want is chips, right? So that's what worked well for us. I kind of just took those guidelines and did what worked well for us. Now, I will say, and this is gonna make the video a little bit longer, expect some things, some curveballs to happen. That's life, right? I tell this with my health and fitness clients that I have. When you declare that you're gonna start a new routine or eating healthier, it's just crazy how an event pops up with lots of really bad for your food, or you just really can't get up when your alarm goes off. Those obstacles are gonna happen. We had obstacles happen after we took away his paci. He got sick, he got the stomach bug, he had a molar come in. Like, he had all of his teeth, I thought, and I was like, you know, he's like 19 months, we got we got a little while for 2-year-old molars, and he got a 2-year-old molar. But because I cut every single one of them, and we live like 40 minutes from a store, there was no going back, and it was hard. There were times where I was like, do I send my husband to the store to go get a paci? But now we've been without a paci for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and he's still doing really good. So I hope you mamas just take these tips and use them for your kids, how you feel is best for their personality. You know, how I do taking away paci with this baby might look completely different, because if they have 2 different personality types, that will be okay. Bryce, I just felt was like, he's a cold turkey kind of kid. And he has been around other kids that have pacifiers, and since they don't look like his, he doesn't seem to really think about it. And I guess there was one time he picked up another kid's, and he kind of like looked at it and was like, and we were like, "Oh, give that back to," and we said her name, like, "Give that back to so-and-so," and he went over and put it into her mouth instead of putting it into his. So I just want you moms to know that if you subscribe to my channel, if you start following me on social media, I will give you tips that work best that have worked for us. But I am not at all saying that I did the right way, or if your child is older than mine, that you should have did it sooner. Like, I am not like that at all. I'm just sharing the tips that worked well for us, because we did some tips that did not work well for us, like the whole just have it at bedtime or nap time. That didn't work for us. I do think that my son's speech probably is a little bit behind because of how much he did have his pacifier, and he's never really been a babbler, or he just says the word when he wants it, but he's not just like a talker. I don't know, but it just felt like the right time for us. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you like videos like this where it's just tips, if you have a tip, leave one down in the comments to help out other mamas, because there is no right or wrong way to parent your child when you are going with your mama gut. Like, you know what's best for your child. You can seek out advice of others and wisdom of others, but apply the things that you feel will work best for you and your child. So I hope you guys are having a great day. Again, thank you so much for watching.